Hello everybody, welcome to a life group video. As always, my name is Anthony. Today I have some friends with me and we will start right over here.
I'm Keenan. I'm the database manager here, as well as the men's ministry admin.
Boom.
Hi, I am Apollo and I am the communications manager here.
Thanks guys for being here today. Today we are looking at Ephesians chapter 6 verses 10 through 20, but before we jump in, I want to go to the connect with others question. Ready for this? Who is your favorite superhero and why? Apollo, let's start with you.
Nice. It's not quite Iron Man. It's Tony Stark. Iron Man is a superhero, but Tony Stark is the guy.
Yeah.
And it's just is that confidence that I know what I'm doing. It always has some sort of plan going that nobody knows what's going on.
It's true.
He's always ready.
He's always got something in the back pocket.
Exactly. They get a bracelet that goes all full.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would be very nice.
That would be.
What do you got, Keenan?
So for me, it's Hawkeye. He is just a normal dude. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any gadgets or gizmos. He just has a sick bow and arrow.
Yeah.
He's human like all of us.
It's true. And one time I went to Mr. T's and someone thought I was Jeremy Renner. Because Jeremy Renner is from Modesto.
These
He
things
is.
never happen to me.
Me either. No.
Mine, thanks for asking, is Spider-Man. I don't know if it has something to do with the name Peter. I tend to like all the Peter characters, Peter Pan, Peter Parker. I don't know why. But just him in particular being like this sort of like young, kind of like us kid, sort of like the Hawkeye idea, is that there's very much a relatability to him, besides the fact that he has this web power stuff. Outside of that, he's just like a kid. You see that especially portrayed in the newer films. But take a second, hit pause on the video, and open up as a group. If someone right now is watching this and you're like, oh, actually mine's Abraham Lincoln, cool. Go ahead and share that. Whoever you look up to in that way, go for it. Share it. We'll go to question number 3 under focus on the passage. If you want to do question number 2 later together after the video, feel free. Question number 3 says this: does Paul propose the battle as optional or unavoidable for the follower of Christ? Nowhere in these 10 verses do we see Paul say, hey, if you're willing to fight in this battle, that'd be great, sign up or get drafted. There's none of that. You're already in the thick of it. There's already things going on in the spiritual realm, whether you have been intentionally or not intentionally aware of it going on. The battles are currently present in our life. What Jesus has saved us from is an eternal thing, but here on the earth today, we have the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of us, and this battle is happening. So when we talk about the armor of God right here in Ephesians 6, the moment you became a part of a church, you didn't get, oh, here's your fearless breastplate, and here is your reaching and raising authentic followers helmet. It didn't happen like that, but spiritually speaking, we are given that armor to put on a daily basis. So go ahead and pause the video for a second and discuss as a group. What do you think? How often do you think the battles are happening in your life? Are you aware of how active that they truly are?
So for number 5, it says, how attentive are you to the spiritual realm while approaching your day? So personally for me, I would say not very attentive, unfortunately. As a stay-at-home dad with 3 kids, my wife is the primary worker. When she does work, it's 24-hour shifts, 3 days one week, 2 days another, so I don't have that much time to focus on my spiritual life. So for me, it's a struggle at times.
It's hard. I think back to like when I was single, before I did have kids. It was a little bit easier to not be distracted by those very immediate needs of a child or of a wife or of the home, to not have to stress about that because I didn't own a home, because I wasn't married. And so with all of those things not being in the way, it was sort of a lot easier to be aware of, like, there are spiritual things going on, and it would be easier to just stop and pray for those moments. But I'm thankful for the family and responsibilities that I have today.
And I think it really comes down to where each individual person that is at in life and in their spiritual walk too. Even like, because for me, even though I'm married, but we don't have any kids, there's not a lot on my plate considering what some other people's situations are with larger families and, you know, taking care of their children and all this stuff. And it's still a struggle for me sometimes to stay aware of that kind of stuff, because the enemy's always going to find some way to distract you. If it's not kids, it's going to be something else. So no matter where you're at, the intentionality of it is extremely important. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah. Take a moment, hit pause on the video, and discuss with each other how does that attentiveness to the spiritual realm going on in your life exist? Do you have a morning habit where you wake up and you figuratively put on the whole armor of God? Or do you just consider that your time in devotion with the Lord? How does that look in your own life?
All right, we're going to jump down to question 6. And question 6 says, we fight a limited army. Principalities cannot keep us from God, Romans 8:38. Jesus rules above all principalities and powers, Colossians 2:10. But why does God allow them to work against us? I actually find this question fascinating because I personally struggle with understanding why God does things sometimes. I mean, a lot of times it's hard for me to make sense of it. But I do know that God has a plan and a purpose for everything that he does and everything that he allows us to do and go through. And I believe that these struggles that we end up, because we're in these battles, these things that we go through are intended to sharpen us.
Yeah.
They are intended to refine us.
Yeah.
Like gold through the fire. The point is to make us better and better and make us more of the people that God is molding us and shaping us to be, so that we can fight these battles more effectively. And I mean, you guys are both parents. As we said earlier, you understand that sometimes you have to allow your children to go through hard and uncomfortable situations, I'm sure, even though you'd rather it not be that way, so that they can grow and become more of who they're supposed to be.
Well said.
In line with what you just said, Apollo, James 1:2-4 says this: "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." So that's that sharpening that does happen in our lives. Take a moment, pause the video, discuss as a group maybe some battles that you have seen in your life, maybe some where you did put on the armor of God and you were prepared for it and you got through it with a few scrapes, but then share about maybe a battle that happened in life that you didn't equip yourself with the armor and you got tossed around the dryer a few times. That's a weird phrasing. Why would I say that? But just take a moment and discuss it as a group.
Absolutely.
Take this passage into your life. Question number 8 says, knowing you are equipped for the battle, how can you ready yourself to put on and use the pieces of armor more effectively and consistently? So we just talked about some battles in our lives where maybe we did or didn't have on the armor. I think an important thing to remember when it comes to having the armor of God and really being a part of God's army per se in this instance is that it's not just about getting ready for a moment, but it's just staying ready. So you don't have to get ready, So the battle doesn't necessarily have like hey, it's this date and time. It's when you step into that meeting. It's when you drop off that kid and you pick up this kid. It's when you start dinner. We're not going to have that kind of appointment when it comes to our battles in life, especially spiritually speaking. It's about just staying ready so you don't have to get ready. So it's building in that habit. It's whether it's every morning, whether it's every first coffee break, whether it's every evening, whatever it looks like for you, take a moment, share with the group. What do you have to do on a more consistent basis to make sure that you're staying ready for the battle versus getting ready? Because this scripture reminds us that the battle's here, the battle's happening, and it's not going anywhere, so we have to make sure that we're ready for it. Well, everybody, for this final section, we ran into a little technical difficulty that's called Anthony leaving the extra batteries at home. So, Keenan is now gone because Keenan is now holding my phone to record this last section. Thanks for working with us.
Yeah. Well, despite all that, we've made it to the last section, Hear from God. We're on question 9. Check this out. What needs to change in our way of thinking to approach the spiritual battles rather than walking by them on a daily basis? This makes me think of all the cool spy movies that I like to watch and all the military guys.
Yeah.
They are highly trained in situational awareness. They're always aware of what's going on around them. If they go to a restaurant, out for dinner with their wife, by the time they get to their seat, they have clocked every suspicious-looking character in the joint. They know where every exit is. They know where an attack could come from, how they would defend it, all this stuff. And they're just completely aware of what's going on around them. And I think that's what we need to develop. That's the change in thinking. We need to develop a spiritual situational awareness, knowing that something that tempts us personally could come at any time from any direction, and just being ready to defend against it.
That's good. I think of it like Sherlock Holmes, Benedict Cumberbatch, or, Robert Downey Jr. Also,
RDJ.
again, speaking of him again, Iron Man, Tony Stark. Those cool little scenes in the movie where he walks into a room and he sees the guy, he's 170 pounds, weight shifted to the right side, fake hip. Whatever that breakdown is, he takes in all that analysis, and that's because of probably years of schooling and how cool that his brain is that he can do that. But for us, like you were saying, that spiritual situational awareness to, whether it's practicing daily devotional every day to keep ourselves in that mindset of being ready, of being aware of God is doing something in this moment. What is that? Something I've been kind of flirting with and doing in my daily schedule is, as I step into a meeting, I have a notebook, and taking out that notebook and just writing down a quick prayer, a one-line thing to God of God, protect my heart in this moment. God, give me boldness in this situation. God, whatever that thing is.
That's good.
To just it's really quick. Did it 2 times yesterday, so I feel like I'm already an expert. But that's just a small example of something that I think could keep me keenly aware of no matter what I'm sitting down to do right here, God is doing something spiritually for me and for this other person. So take a moment, hit pause on the video, and discuss it as a group. That's it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Life Group Video. Thanks, Apollo.
It was fun.
Thanks, Keenan.
No problem.
We will see you guys next week with another video.